Hi, everybody. I hope you all are doing well today. Um, Give me a thumbs up. Tell me where you're from. Your neighbor may be sewing next to you or creating next to you. You never know. Give me a thumbs up that you can hear me, and we'll get going today. Before I started, I did want to explain what happened last week. Many of you have probably heard now. I had found out right before I went live last week that Lewis had passed away. So before I start, I kind of just wanted to give you all, if for those of you that had never met Lewis, give you all a little image into Lewis's life here. He was a wonderful friend and great person, to creative soul. So I didn't want to do the show today, and I couldn't say anything last week because his family didn't all know, and we didn't want to release that information without them knowing. So he was a wonderful friend. He was a mentor. He was a life of his own. I mean, he was the life of the party. He was extremely creative, and he was larger than life. So that is why last week I said, I started and I was like, oh, I really don't know what to do. Wow, I went blurry there. There we go. So yeah, he was a very talented, creative soul, and we will miss him dearly in the brother world. So, but I did want to share that with you guys, that that's what it was. Was what threw me off my game last week. So today, what I'll do is, if you comment on the video anytime within the next week, I'm going to give away a lesson with me. So I'm going to give away an hour lesson on any of the software programs in Brother that you want, because we did reach the 2,000 goal that I had for myself. And last week I just couldn't even think of anything to do. So that's what the prize will be. And then next week live, I will pick a winner from the comments that came in anytime between now and next week. So, and like I said, any of the Brother software programs, you can pick your poison, and you can send me your questions, and we can talk about what you want to do. So yeah, I mean, for those of us in the brother world, it was really a true shock, because we did not, it was a sudden death. They think it was a heart attack. We just don't know. So people think he had cancer. No, that wasn't it. His mother passed away of cancer a couple of years ago. So that's why the family is asking for you all to donate to the Cancer Society. But he did not have cancer. It was just a sudden loss. My guess is that he had a widowmaker heart attack. That's my guess. So I've also had some questions today about Angela's and my new class. And I'm going to show you on my website how to get there. The coupon code is going to go down here at the bottom here. It's Cindy10. And if I share my website here, let me escape out of this and close that. And I'll take you to my website. So let's share my page again here. On my website, and I'm taking off this coupon code for a minute so you all can see, if you'll scroll down to the link, virtual class series with Angela Wolf and Cindy Hogan. When you click that, our new class is listed right here. You can click right there on that picture, and it'll take you directly to that class. You can sign up on that page, and you'll be notified, and you'll get all of your links and information that you need to be able to go there. Also, we'll go back. All of the previous classes are there. So if you want to watch the replay of any of the classes, you can go back and watch the replays of the classes. Same price, guys, but you'll get the same information. You just won't have it live. And the coupon code that I gave you, Cindy10, will work for that one as well. So, Tana, I'm glad you enjoyed the other classes. Thank you so much. Angela and I certainly enjoy doing these for you guys. So yes, Lewis really could make you turn a bad day around. He really could truly turn a bad day around. He was my bling king. We traveled a lot together and had a lot of fun together. He meant a lot to all of us. I mean, and you all have welcomed us all into your homes this past year. And he became part of your family. Yes, he definitely was the bling king. And, I don't know if you've never taken a class with him in person, it was really entertaining because he always made an entrance with his clothes. He would have his nice jacket on and then he would peel it off and show you his bling. So it was always quite entertaining. So we've lost a good creative soul. I mean, truly, we've lost a good creative soul. But that is how Lewis passed away last week. If you didn't know, we think he had a heart attack. They just don't know. But everybody's it's all over the internet. He had cancer. No, he did not. His mother passed away of cancer 2 years ago. So that's why the family is suggesting donations to the American Cancer Society in lieu of flowers. So anyhow, he was just turning things around and starting his own classes and having fun in outside of doing our brother thing. So we all, it's a loss to the industry. And that's about all I can say. He was truly a good man, and lots of fun to hang out with, I'll have to say. So today, let's see here. I'm going to talk more about textures, and we'll talk about textures from NBES 4 and in PE Design 11. And then I was going to talk about what divide by color, divide by stitches, and all those things mean in PE Design, and a little bit more about texturizing your designs in PE Design 11. So hi, Gay. Let me see if I can say hi to you guys since I told you to say hi and tell us where you're from. Hi, Tana. Hi, Priscilla. Hi, Patty. So hi, Michael and Judy, of course. Wait a minute. Is my other Judy from Surprise, Arizona here today? Nope, I don't see her in here yet. Hi, Cindy and Tracy and Susan. Hi, Vera. And hi, Sharon. All right, guys, so let's get started. And I actually have Canvas Workspace up here for some reason, but today I'm not using Canvas Workspace. Unusual for me, I know. Usually we go through there in some way, shape, or form, but we're not going to go there. Hi, Tina from Denton, Texas. How's Debbie, your dealer in Denton, Texas? I love Denton. It's quite out of the way, but it's a lot of fun to go to. I had fun when I went there a few years ago. Boy, it's been a while since I've been down to Texas. An amazing while, actually. Ooh, I didn't mean to do that. I hit the wrong one. Hold on. I'm pulling. Evidently, I can't seem to pull the right window over to the screen that I want you to see. All right, let's see here. Let's get going. Hi, Pauline from the UK. Awesome. Thanks for joining us today. So today we're going to start in BES 4 and then I'm going to finish up in PE Design 11. And I looked over at my screen. That's to make sure I had the screen up for you guys. That's why I'm looking sideways, because I have two screens going on here. One never knows which one you're looking at. All right. So I'm going to flip over and share my screen. There we go. In in BES 4, you don't have as many options as you do in PE Design because it's not a digitizing program. It's a customizing program. So let's talk about what you can do. Well, with built-in designs that you have in here, or with designs that you bring in and you convert to outline, you actually have some control and you can play with things. So let's say we wanted to bring in these basic bells. They don't look real exciting, right? Let's look at them in 3D. 3D is your realistic preview. They're just basic bells, and I'm going to make it to where they're too big for my stitches. All right. So what it's telling me when that message pops up is that I cannot stitch some elements in a satin stitch. And you'll notice if you're in 3D Draw, those spaces are gapped. Okay. So evidently my bows are in a satin stitch. And that message that we got, I'll pop it up one more time here. is telling me that I have a design segment that has stitches that are longer than 10 millimeters. We're going to click OK, and we're just going to say, all right, let's play. So if I click the pink section over here, and you want to kind of expand that because you want to click all of the ones that say column next to them. Column is a satin stitch. Then you can come over into your properties window and change it from satin to any of these different fills. This is how you can create texture. Notice that I got a different look there. So let's look at the next part, and let's grab the columns again. I hit the plus sign to get them, and let's come and give that a different texture. Let's say we try brick wall with that and click apply, and there you go. I now have that part. We've got one more section here that has gaps in it. And you can do this regardless of whether it has gaps or not. This is another way that you can add interest to a design. Come in and pick a different pattern and click apply. And there you go. You've got the same pattern, it's usable, but it no longer has gaps, except for if we look at the bell part. So let's grab our column stitches for the bell and change them to something else. I'm going to try smooth with that one. There we go. And that is an easy way to do it. You can also, let's say we didn't want to do a smooth stitch, we wanted a different stitch type. You can change it from standard to carved. Carved gives you more options. I'm going to go ahead and choose apply. And it's telling me I've created a segment that's too large, and that's okay. We're going to come and see if we can get a carved fill that will actually allow it to do that. Notice how that filled that area in. So it depends on the carved fill that you select as to whether this will work or not. And there are somewhere around 200 of these carved fills in here. I won't say exactly 200 because they skip numbers, but there are a lot of them in here that you can play with. And it gives you a different texture. Now, having said all that, don't go nuts. Because carved fills are going to take longer to stitch than a regular fill. And depending on where they start and stop, they could leave gaps. So I actually prefer the standard fills to pick one of those from that drop-down list. But that really just depends on what you want to do, okay? I would always stitch out a sample on something on the fabric that you plan on embroidering it on. And I can't stress that enough. Felt is not your friend when it comes to, is this going to be like real life embroidery? You must use the type of fabric that you plan on embroidering in it. That way you know that the pull compensation is right. By that I mean that your outlines are going to fit the design itself. Because what happens as the machine travels, if it's a stretchy fabric, that those edge stitches will get pulled under more. So that's what pull compensation does, is it compensates for that pull-in factor and for the push-out factor for the tops and the bottoms. So no, carved fills are not in a pack. They aren't in a power pack, Tina. They are in the regular standard BES4. No power packs needed for that. That's really, you need to use real world fabrics, guys, because that makes a huge difference in your embroidery results. So like I've got a logo that I've been working on over here. I stitched it out first on a white cotton, and just a plain old white cotton. That's one of the things that I do. That's my first step. And then I decided, okay, what difficult fabrics or what things might they be embroidering this logo on? Well, I knew they were going to be using knits. So I grabbed a knit fabric. I went and found an old t-shirt that I had that had a hole in it and chopped it up and decided, okay, this is going to be my sample for the embroidery to see how it works on a knit. So depending on what you plan on going on depends on the settings that you apply to your software, to your embroidery design. And that's what those recipes do for you. So if you aren't sure what you need to do, you can always come in, right mouse click on a design and choose Apply Recipe in BES4. Normal is the default, but you can choose any of these other options. So if you knew you were going on a t-shirt, apply the t-shirt recipe. And what it will do is it will apply different settings based on the area. So you'll notice that's the underlay style that it selected for the fill area. And if we look at that out of 3D view, and let's zoom in on it, you'll notice that it has that underlay under there. Okay. So let's go back, and the same thing can be done, that same texture can be done with stitches, with, what am I going to say, with text. So if I put in ABC and I make my text too large, well, this one I'm not making too large, but like I said, it doesn't have to be too large. Let's say I just want to change it. I can certainly change it to any of the fills. And you'll notice how, let's pick a different color here so y'all can see a little bit better. You'll notice how it applies that texture. You can pick snake skin, you can pick any of the ones. And brick wall is one of my favorites, I'll have to say. I think it does a really cool, feature. So I just like that one. But you also have carved fills for text as well. So once again, pick your carved fill and apply it. And just play. The best advice I can give to anyone trying to learn software is to get it out of the box, put it on your computer, and sit down and touch all of the keys and see what they do. That's how I learn my software. Nobody comes in and teaches it to me. I just sit there and go in and play with it to see what we're going to get. Michael, we don't have Save to Sew in PE Design 11. You're thinking of a different program. And that's not a brother program. Waterproof canvas. I would probably choose, let's see what recipes we have. Hold on, let's go look and see. I don't want that view, I want this one. Apply recipe. I would probably put canvas. Okay, I would use canvas as my basic recipe. Okay, because even if it's waterproof canvas, it's still canvas, correct? If I'm thinking what you're thinking, I'm pretty sure that's what we're talking about. Terry, would BES be better for embossing or a knockdown stitching? BES4 with Power Pack 1 has a knockdown stitch. Okay, it's called nap control. And that was one of the other things I was going to show in PE Design 11 today. It has nap control. I will tell you that I found it easier to do embossing with BES4 with Power Pack 1 than it is in PE Design 11, just simply because of the way they changed things. But having said that, we now have a couple of new features that you might find it might be just as easy. So let's go look at the knockdown stitch in in BES4 and look and see what we've got. So there is a tutorial on the Brother Sews website that I did for them a couple of years ago, and I'm going to bring up their website here. Hold on. Maybe. Let's see here, brothersews.com. Actually, that's not what I want. I want blog. Actually, Stitching Social. Let's Google Stitching Social blog, blog.brother.sews. I never can remember. So if you type in my name, I believe this one will show up in the search menu. Okay, let's see here. Right here. Yep, type in my name. Embossed lettering with BES4 Dream Edition software. So this is a complete tutorial on how to do that if you want to know how to do that. However, having said that, I will show you a way to do it. So if I choose add design, I'm going to choose an applique shape just because we'll choose the basic circle shape. We're not going to actually embroider that shape. We're just going to use it. We're going to choose our normal text tool, and I'm just going to put in a letter. And I'm going to change it to a true type font because it actually will do a better job with a true type font than one of the built-in fonts, unless it's a font with an O in it. So let's go down here and pick one that I like for this. Let's see what that one looks like. No, that's not. You want a thick font. So which one is it? Cooper Black. I'm not going to worry about there being too big of a satin stitch. That's not a big deal for me here. But if we wanted to worry about that, what would we do? We would just change that pattern to a regular fill. Well, isn't that interesting? Cooper Black does not like me. Huh. Let's try a different one. All right. Not exciting, but we'll go with it. Okay, so the first thing that I would do is I would go to my Tools tab and choose Nap Control and just click. I usually add a finishing run and click OK. Now, I delete my inner circle, and then I come and grab the whole thing, Control A, right mouse click and choose. Nope, want to grab this one. Right mouse click and choose remove overlap stitches. And we want it down to 0. Click OK. You now have a hole in your nap control, and there you go. You have embossed lettering. Now, let's see if we did that with a regular font, if it will work as well. Because I'm not set that we have to do a true type font. It's been a while since I've played with this. Let's pick a font with an O on it. So, for instance, Baby Point. And we'll make it a little smaller. And hello, undo. I want the green arrow here to shrink in. There we go. So I'm going to select it and move it inside. And I would normally center a line at the whole 9 yards. Let's right mouse click and remove those overlap stitches. Take it down to 0. Click OK, and then take your H out. Perfect. So you can go either way you want. It works beautifully with both. I usually add that finishing run. There is a font size limit for a satin stitch. That's one of the reasons I was showing you those different stitches from the standard pull down menu, from changing it from standard to one of the different pattern fills or a carved fill allows you to exceed the size. So let's go back over here and look and talk about that. In BES4 and in PE Design, there's not. You're going to have to decide when you need to change the size of the font. All right, let's see here. Oops. There we go. Here's my text. So here, if I click on the question mark, you will notice it says recommended heights, minimum height for a satin, maximum height for a satin. That key word is satin stitch. So the minimum size I should make this one is 0.59 inches. The maximum size I should make it is 1.97 inches. So those are for a satin stitch. If I want to go bigger, I can do that. So let's make this 3 inches. But what's going to happen is it's going to tell me I've created a satin segment that's too large. I don't see quite the gaps that I normally do. So let's make it even bigger. Let's go 4 inches. That should truly make it huge. There you go. If you're not in 3D, you'll notice a little ugly looking patch right there. But if you're in 3D, you'll notice that you have gaps. change it to a patterned fill. Easy, simple, you're done. Sharon, the embossing that was a side benefit of getting nap control. So in BES4, you would need Power Pack 1 in order to do that, because that's the only place that you can get that stitch. Okay. All right. Let's talk about PE Design here. So same thing. You all wanted nap control in PE Design. So that's my next one. Let me go back and share my screen. Yeah, it is super simple in BES4 if you have that first Power Pack. So I'm going to switch out of this. And let me find my PE Design 11 and pop it over here. Okay, so evidently I was pulling something up that was up here earlier, so we'll just hit new page. So how would I do embossing in PE Design 11? Well, the first thing I would do is I would pick a shape. Actually, let's do nap control first, because it's not a true built-in here. Now, I've picked a font that I've created, and I don't have all of the letters for this one, so let's just pick a different font here. And now what I'm going to do is go to my Home tab. Mary, the first software that I was showing was BES4. I'm now in PE Design 11. All right, so I have my text, and you can pick any text that you want. The easiest way to do this is to choose the embroidered patch wizard first, and choose how far away you want it from your original pattern, and don't have a satin stitch around it. Click OK. There you go. It's made you a path around it. Now, this is the next thing that you're going to find interesting. If you choose the background fill wizard and you click inside that area and choose decorative fill as your option for right now, we're going to change it, but that's going to give you the option of what we need. And you want to exclude the internal patterns and update the preview. And you'll notice, actually, no, we don't want to exclude the internal patterns. We want that knocked down because we're doing knockdown stitch. So I'm making this way harder than it needs to be. That's what we're going to do for the embossed lettering. So instead of doing that, we're going to select our embroidered patch that we just created, and we're going to turn on net fill stitch. We're going to move that to the front, and you're going to go to your sewing attributes, and I usually choose the last option, and I take that spacing down to 2. That is your knockdown stitch. You can make it the same color as whatever you're planning on embroidering, both the outline and the fill. I do like to use an outline around it. Let's click my color tab. Why is it not showing me that color? There we go. So let's say I was putting this on a pink towel. I'm sure my husband would love the fact that I picked pink as the color for Brian, but there you go. What are you going to say? But that will actually knock your loops down and take care of that nap for you. So the embroidered patch wizard is the sweet spot for being able to just go around the outside of an area, and you can choose how far from your original pattern you want that to extend. So if you don't want it to go a far distance, make it maybe a millimeter instead of 3. Now I'll fully admit that I am a millimeter kind of girl when it comes to settings. Embroidered patch wizard, so it's the default here. If I go back to default, it's 3 millimeters. So these are the defaults. You want to turn the satin stitch off. The distance from the original pattern is whatever you want it to be. So if you want it bigger or further outside of it, you would make the distance further. If you want it tighter, we can go down to 1, and you'll notice how it snugs right up to it there. So once you've done that, you select that item, click the select patterns icon, change it from not sewn to net fill stitch. Change the net fill stitch in your sewing attributes over here to the 3rd option. Now, if you don't see, well, actually, you do see this in beginner mode as well. Third option, take it all the way down to 2, and then make it sew first. Just drag it and drop it in the sewing order window and change your color to whatever you want to do. Okay. So that's how you would do the nap control in P Design 11. I've had a lot of questions on that one lately, so it's a good thing that I remembered to do that today. So let's talk about embossing there. That was not on my list of things to do, but we can certainly do that since we were kind of on that topic. Let's see. Let me just delete all of this, and let's just grab the text tool, and I'll type in an H. And you can pick whatever font you want. It does not matter. And I'm going to show you my cheater's way of doing this now. Oh, I don't like that one. It needs to be a thicker font, guys. That is the only thing I'll tell you about this that is really a true, tried and true thing, is that you do need a thicker font, because if it's a skinny font, it's not going to do well. So here, let's do Cooper Black. And I'm just going to make it big, big, big. All right. I'm going to grab my shapes tool and I'm going to draw a circle shape. And we are going to have that sew first. Okay. So now, I'm going to cheat here. So whereas it filled it in for me, that's not exactly what I want it to do. So I'm going to select it and I'm going to change it to not sewn for right now. And we're going to align everything. So select all, go to your view tab, home tab on here, arrange center, arrange middle. Now, true type fonts are a little ornery when it comes to that. So you really don't want to middle it unless you have converted it to stitches first. So if I convert it to outline or convert it to stitches, either one's fine. Then it will actually center it to the middle. All right. So my cheater's way for this. Go into background fill. Choose decorative fill as your option and click on the in between the text and the outline. Click next. Exclude internal patterns and update the preview, and choose how far away you want it from the original pattern. You want it snugged right up against it because we are going to delete the H. Click OK. There we go. Now click that fill. Change it from decorative fill to net fill stitch. Choose that third option, and there you go. You can actually, once again, change that stitch length or spacing down to 2, and you'll have a nice, tight, embossed letter once you select the H and delete it. So that is a new trick that we're able to do in 11 that we didn't have in 10, 9, or any of the others. Before, we had to set whole sewing and do the whole nine yards. That background fill, when you choose a decorative fill, it lets you exclude the internal pattern, which is what creates the space for the H. So that's a little trick for you guys. That's something I haven't written up yet. It just kind of came to me as a side benefit when we started talking about embossed lettering. So that's one of those that you never know what I come up with. All right. So the last thing I want to talk to you about today was some more textured fills, unless there are other questions out there. So we talked a bit about it last week and how to texture. And so I wanted to show you, yes, the P Design 11 can be used for the Baby Localissimo. For some reason, somebody has it in their head out there. I was reading on some posts the other day. I don't remember what group I was looking in, but somebody felt like that P Design 11 couldn't be sent to lower machines. No, it can go to any Brother machine. that when you save it as a lower version, you're saving it so somebody with that lower version of software can read it. It has nothing to do with the machine. I can send this, anything that I create in P Design 11, I can send it as low as I want to go. I mean, I've got Quattros out there that I can send it to. I don't have any in my older machines. I've kind of given those away, but I do have some Quattros that this goes directly to. I send it to my Dream machine as well as my newer machines. What it can't do is go wirelessly to those machines. The only machines it can go wirelessly to are the most current versions of machines. So like the Stellaire, the 1055X, and the Luminaire. That's the difference. When you save as a lower version in a software, you are saving it in that version so that somebody that that doesn't have your most current version of software can read it. So, for instance, this is a great example. I have both BES4 and PE Design 11. My BES4 does not read my PE Design 11 files. So what I must do in PE Design 11 is save it in a lower version so that I can open it in my BES4. And hopefully that will get resolved at some point, but right now it's not. So what I will do is I will save one in the native format of version 11, and then I will save it again as a version 10 or lower, just so that it can be read in that software program. But I always put a V10 or whatever version I saved it in at the end of it. But truly, that saving as a lower version is so that people who have older software can read it. You sure could do a whole name and make it embossed. It just depends on how big you want to make it. Terry, it depends on what version of software that person owns. If I own version 5 software and you send me a design in version 10, I can't read that. I will tell you that the lowest version that works on Windows 10 is version 7. So anything below that is not going to work on a new computer. Yeah, I mean, in many of the new programs, because the thing about it is that Brother Japan makes the P Design software programs and they make the machines. There's a EULA license out there that you all end user licensing agreement that any software developer has to follow. And one of those is that they can't reverse engineer the code. So until they allow us to have that code for the US for our Pulse product, which is the BES4, we cannot have that. So that's really where that comes in, and that's we're trying to work on that. Wanda, no, the Power Pack 1 does not have more fonts. Veronica, if you'll go back and watch the beginning of this, you'll hear what the Lewis story. Okay, where was I going? Oh, emboss a whole name. So I'll show you that, and then we'll start texture. So let me grab this and we'll delete this. And let's say we grab an oval shape this time. And then we're going to turn off our fill. And you can leave your outline to this, or you can turn it to running stitch or triple stitch, whatever you want. We're going to go home and we're going to put in a whole name. So let me type in Cindy. And I'll make it bigger. And so that since this is a true type font, I am going to convert it to outline because we're not going to embroider it anyway. We're going to select it all, arrange, align center, arrange, align middle. Okay. Background fill wizard. Click inside that area. Decorative fill should be selected. Click next. Now, if you want it to go in, I need to back up. Since there's a hole in that letter, I need to add that center part. So we're going to click next. Now you'll see that my center part got grabbed. Make sure exclude internal patterns is checked and that the offset spacing is at 0. Click OK. Now, since we've got a whole name and there's holes in my letter, I need to select the entire background here. Select it, change it to net fill. second option, or excuse me, third option there. And what are we going to take it down to? 2.0. There you go. Now, since I've had to change that so many times, let me show you all a little trick. Okay. If I click down here at the house and the wrench, that allows me to save a setting. So if I want to choose save as, and I want to save this as embossing, click OK. It will save those settings for me, and I can load that in. So let's delete that background off again and come back in here, click, and make sure I get my center. Click next. We'll go ahead and click OK. Now, if I come up here to my, where is that? Which one is it? Let's go up here to the application button, fabric selector, and let's choose embossing and automatically convert all sewing attributes to outline data. Let's see if that'll do it. It did not do it. I be darned. We want to select these middle pieces, change it to net fill stitch, but it loaded those settings for me. If I go back to the default settings, it's right now, since I've loaded emboss settings, that's what's loaded as the default. Now, if I come back up to my fabric selector and I go back to just default, it went back to the default settings. But if I come, you have to have the stitch selected that you changed those properties for. Let's go back in and choose fabric selector again, choose embossing. There you go. Now, we want to select the name, press delete, and there's your embossed lettering. Okay. You know, I don't know. I have not gone back in there and selected things I have not gone back in and retyped them in. I will be honest on that one. You'll find a variety of topics in every week. Usually I try to touch at least 2 pieces of software during the program. So no, there's truly not a topic way, but I started these last March and you should have a lot of different things to see. You know, Veronica, you can use whatever software you want to. I don't use Embrilliance. Obviously, I use Brothers software, so that's my specialty. I find you can get where you want to go in any program for the most part. There are some specialty things in each program that you won't be able to do in another program. So I'm a software junkie. I will freely profess that. My name is Cindy, and I have a problem. I'm a software junkie. I'm also a machine junkie, and I will enable you to buy whatever software you would like to buy, because I think our machines are dreamy, but our software makes them sing. So that, you know, there's not one piece of software out there that does everything. Being able to use multiples expands your world. So, all right, let's talk texture again. And I'm just going to bring up a logo that I've been playing with. And we'll go with, and you can see that I've got V10 after things. So here we go. I don't want the smaller one. I want the bigger flag. What one do I want? There we go. I'm not going to save my changes, and I'll go ahead and just delete the text. We don't really care about my text here. And I'm going to change these back to the way they were. I'm just going to put a different stitch on them. Oh, it's not going to let me take my embossing out of them. All right, we'll make them bigger and see if that'll work. Yep, there we go. No. Okay, so I'm going to have to show you all how to create this logo. So let's display my image. Nope, I didn't save it with it. So this was just a plain background. So I'm just going to have to kind of show you how I created this. We're going to come and grab my manual punch tool. I'm going to zoom in first before I do that to to that area. I'll just punch over the top of it so y'all can see how I did this, and then we'll move it out of the way. And this is what you call your column tool. We call it the manual punch tool. I'm using the curved block punch tool, so it makes it easier for me to do curves here. But you can tell that if I stitch this out all in one thing, that I would have a really long satin stitch, and that wasn't what I wanted. I didn't want to fill stitch. I still wanted to keep my satin stitch. So we're just going to do one side of this, and I'm going to show you. This is kind of a rendition on what we did the other day, but it'll give you real life reason why you might want to do this. So let's grab a color. Boy, those are some ugly blues. There we go. You can see that one. All right. I'm going to go to my home tab, and I'm going to choose my shapes tool and choose my curved line drawing tool. So if we look at these two, basically, if we zoom out and look at them, this looks like water, but not really. It's not like a moving subject, right? By doing a little embossing here, a little engraving with my curved line tool, and I just started right here with a running stitch, curved it around to where it kind of went down the middle here, double clicked when I got done, and then I selected both of those parts. And if you need to adjust that, you can use your edit shape tool and manipulate your nodes. So if there's any adjustments that you want to make, let's say you went too far in, you didn't like the way it curved, any of that you can do. All right, so I am going to go into my sewing order window, and I suggest you do it in your sewing order window, because if you don't, you will create a duplicate by accident. You're going to hold the control key down and select both of those parts, click on your select patterns tool, and go back to that emboss stamp tool that we used. And we're just going to engrave that line. Voila. That's how I did that. And it makes a huge difference. Same thing for this side. That's all. For this side, I did 2 of those curves, and I engraved them both separately. But what else could I have done? So if I undo this, let me undo one more time and get rid of let's just delete my pink line here. And let's select this, and we will zoom to selected object. If I didn't want to engrave the line, if I wanted to put a stamp in, I could do that. So if I choose Input Stamp Tool, this actually puts in a patterned fill, but just where you stamp it. So instead of having the whole pattern go through there, it's just going to hit where you stamp it. So let me see which ones we want to go with. Let's say we want to pick this one. I can click here, and you'll notice how it just stamps that pattern where I put it. It's not going to get a complete pattern because I've got it at a 10 by 10 size. Let's say we put it at a 5 and 5 by 5 and see what happens. So I need to close this, and if I want to edit that stamp, I need to go to my Edit Stamp tool. And the Edit Stamp tool lets me then select the stamp that I want to edit and adjust it. So if I want to change that down to 5 and 5, click Apply, it automatically adjusts it. So pick the next stamp that you want to adjust. You could have different stamps be different sizes. And that's another way to get texture. Now, that wouldn't be my choice for my water, but it does give you an idea how to do it. All right. I'm trying to read this one. Oh, you know, the Elegante was a great machine. I'm trying to remember what it was for us. I think it was our 4500. It may have been our ULT. So was it the one with the USB floppy drive, or was it the first one that we had that was USB compatible? So, you know, was it the floppy drive or USB compatible? That will tell me. I don't, Baby Lock with all the E names, I get confused. So it's kind of like when Brother went to the Dream. Is it the Dream Creator, the Dream this, the Dream that? It was one of those. Okay. I don't know. I'm good with numbers, but I'm not real good with the names. So if you'll give me an idea as to how you get your design into your machine, I can tell you more about it, which one's compatible. Okay, guys, any other questions today? If not, I guess I am done for the day. Reminder again, let me put it up here. Embroidery 103 is coming up, and if this will take you to the virtual classes on my site. And let me take you back over there again. So here's my website, and if you scroll down to the left-hand side, virtual class series with Angela and Cindy, this is the 103. We're going to do hats this time around. All you have to do is click there, and it will take you to the sign up. If you can't catch us live, you can watch the replay. And it's just like having us live. You just don't get to ask questions live. So you'll get the same information, and we tape the class as we go. So the coupon code that's there is case sensitive. So it's lowercase Cindy 10 all put together. And it will work for any of the previous classes as well. Lori, the textures, the embossing, yes, that's definitely in PE Design 11. The background fill wizard is not. So, it's that if y'all ask me, if y'all remind me next week, I'll go back in and show how to do embossing the long way. There is actually a video on my website on how to do it the long way. Yeah, there's Lois, if you go into your applique shapes, hold on. Let me see. So let's see here. If you go new page, if you don't have any power packs, there should be a square in our applique shapes. There you go, right there. And if you have power pack and you want a square, if you have power pack 2 artwork cut shapes, there are a couple of different squares in here, a rounded one and a square one. That one can be converted to applique, runs, or decorative fills, depending on what power packs you have. Okay, so it all depends on your power packs. Let me see here. All right, Judy, we'll look forward in seeing you there. For those of you that haven't had it, Tana's taken all of them so far. She says she's learned something at every one. And this time we are going to talk hats on a single needle machine using the standard hoops that come with the machine. We'll also talk about some specialty hoops, but really we are going to focus on how you do the front of a hat and the back of a hat on the standard hoop. So hope you all can join us for that one. It is on the 16th at noon Eastern time, 11 Central. And don't ask me to go any further than that. Converting to all the different time zones becomes a little crazy. I don't see any other questions there. Sheila, you are most welcome. I'm glad you're enjoying the lessons. I enjoy doing them. This is a great way to connect with you guys since I don't get to travel anymore. And I love sharing my love of software. So you all have a great rest of the week and a marvelous weekend. If you are in my Lettering So Easy group, I shall see you this Thursday. And there is a special coupon code for you guys. So if you contact me in that group, I'll actually post it in that group here in a few minutes. I just got the coupon codes from Angela right before I went live. So I will post that special coupon in there. You all have a great rest of the day. And oops, I guess I should put this up. So let's see here. I'm hunting. Coupon code for lettering is there at the bottom. And here's what Tana has to say. There you go. Thank you. So I'll see you there's my surprise Arizona girl. I knew you'd have to pop up soon. So there's the coupon code for Lettering So Easy. You must have the book in order to be a member of the group. Otherwise, I mean, you're basically getting a seminar, a full seminar out of it. I'm going through the lessons with them right now. So, and the replays are all in that group. So you all have fun. Cindy, you can make it so. It has a P Design 11 has a lot of capabilities to it. I will have to say, this is one of my favorite versions that they've done. I love the decorative fills, and I love that background fill wizard because it gives me so much more control. So it really has been fun. You all have a great rest of the week. I don't see any other questions out there. So lettering so easy for BES4 if you have my workbook. So it looks just like it does down here, but you cannot get it. Don't request if you don't have the workbook. And you do have to answer the questions and agree to the group rules. So Wanda, I'm glad you enjoyed it today. You all have a great rest of the day. And yeah, Lois, I figure I'll get you before long. You're definitely on that track. So you all have a great rest of the day. And I will see you the next week. Bye.